taking photos or?
No, we're live right now.
We're live right now?
Just like that. Just like that.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
So everybody, I don't know if you know, this is James.
Yeah.
AOV James, League of Legends James, Just James.
Just James.
X James on Discord. What's the other one?
T-Real Time for the World of Warcraft scene, all of that. Virus, if you want to go back into the old school days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing we talked about earlier is I personally said you needed to develop an alias. You like to be James everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is your actual name.
It's up front. It's personal.
Yeah, it's definitely personal. All completely personal.
Yeah.
But you don't worry at some point that it might be too personal?
No. I think one of the most important things about, being true to yourself and the content that you want to create and the influence that you want to have on a community is to not only be intentional but be authentic in how you convey your beliefs. So I put James on everything because it's who I am, it's who I was raised, and what my parents gave to me, and my experience is being able to give that back to the NTG community, the greater community abroad, it means a lot to me.
Yeah. So what makes you tick? I mean, you joined NTG, you left NTG under good conditions.
Yes.
Because we didn't really support we didn't have an eSports team at the time, and you're back with us, man. So realistically, for you, what the whole gaming scene, what does it really mean to you at this point?
So, to give a little bit of context, I grew up in a little bit more of an isolated environment to where I didn't have the opportunity to socialize with other kids growing up that most people would have had. I lived 30 minutes outside of the city where I went to school. The buses didn't go to where I lived, and I really didn't have any avenues to socialize with other people.
Okay.
So gaming was my avenue to create contact with others and to really learn how to meet people.
Yeah.
So growing up in that atmosphere, I gained a lot of experience both in my failures and just meeting really nice, authentic people that wanted to help me out.
Yeah.
That I want to do the same and give back to the community that gave me so much. So gaming for me is not only a lifestyle that I grew up in, but it's also an opportunity to show people that you can be successful, you can achieve what you want to, and there are really good people present and capable of helping you along that path should you so desire.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we've been with this organization for a pretty decent amount of time now, and you know what the organization stands for, and realistically, we've seen a lot of toxicity, right? Just in the time that we've been together, and not to mention you've been in the gaming scene a long time, just like I have. I've seen over the years. What are your thoughts about the current state of gaming when it comes to toxicity, and also on top of that, with eSports and really the effects that I think eSports is having on kids, teens, young adults at this point?
I think that there's obviously pros and cons to both sides of the situation, but eSports is still in a very adolescent stage as to how it influences society, and the players more often than not do not recognize how their actions directly impact others. And I don't think that organizations and leagues in every instance hold those players accountable for what they've done, to where it does continue that toxicity and that toxic culture where it's okay to belittle other people simply because either they're not playing the way that you want them to, or they're not fulfilling the role that you would expect of them. That way you can achieve something. Because when you're playing competitive games, everybody's here to win at the end of the day. That's why you're playing. But at the same time, some people are just there to have fun, and they're still human beings behind the keyboard, behind the screen at the end of the day. And your actions do have a direct consequence to not only their state of mind, but how they develop as individuals throughout their life. And if they see toxic culture at the players playing at the top of their game, and they're getting contracts and endorsements, and then you see them go and curse out a 12-year-old kid because they didn't play up to their standards. That's not the right way of handling that by any means, and it does not promote the society that we want to see for humans in general.
Yeah. You know, you think so? If fast forward 10 years into the future,
Okay.
what do you think the state of esports will be at that point?
I think in 10 years you're going to see regulative bodies come into play, similar to how you've got NCAA, the NFL, those bodies covering major sports, and ensuring and enforcing the player etiquette responsibilities that they should be already held to, but they'll actually be held to later down the road. On top of that, I think you're going to see esports take over as one of the dominant industries on the planet. It's already one of the fastest growing entities worldwide, but at the same time you're going to see it major news coverage beyond what we have today. You're going to see business development conferences. People are going to be making major marketing investments in these. You might even see companies like State Farm and all of these other big names that have already invested. You'll see McDonald's, you'll see maybe Chick-fil-A, you'll see a lot more from the rest of the world investing in its development. And if it's done the right way, then we can have a healthy community. I just hope that it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Where can they find you on social media if they want to message you, talk about esports, talk about gaming? Oh, by the way, one other thing. What games? So what games would you consider something like that's really unique and creative? You know, at this point, something that just really is a little bit outside the box. Any games that you can recommend people check out at this point?
Outside the box, really enjoyable games. So I've been playing a game called Singularity recently, which is a development of the biology for everything since the Big Bang down to humankind and post-humankind and how we may develop in the future. So I think it's a really good opportunity to learn from that game. It's a great gamification of education, and it's a great model for teaching kids in a friendly environment that's enjoyable to them. So I've really enjoyed that. And then, I don't know, we'll have to see what comes out next.
All right, well, James, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we're working on DreamHack Atlanta in the fall. So if we work that out, NTG will be going to DreamHack Atlanta. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the NTG channel. I've got some more content creator and NTG leadership team interviews coming up in the future.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right.